Hello, hello, this is Nancy Juetten, and if building your list is a priority for your online business, this episode of the Learn More, Earn More show is going to be illuminating, exciting, and eye-opening, and I can't wait to start, so let's get the party started. Today, I have two amazing guests who are partners in a company called Infinite List. The first partner is Krista Inochovsky. She's a former professional dancer, has transitioned into a remarkable career as a life and business coach, and specializes in empowering experts to shine brightly and enhance their visibility, enabling them to connect with their ideal audience. Krista is also the co-founder of Infinite List, the premier list building membership community for online experts. And joining her today is her partner in life and business, Michael Neeley. He's an international best-selling author of Zero to Launch Podcast Accelerator. He's been teaching podcasting for nearly a decade. One of the strategies he urges clients to master is converting their listeners into their list. A firm believer that your business grows as your list grows, Michael works diligently in supporting his colleagues and clients in continual list growth through giveaways, virtual summits, and podcasts. As the founder of the Infinite List, he is revolutionizing the way entrepreneurs approach giveaways and partnering for mutual support and benefit. Krista and Michael, welcome to the Learn More, Earn More show.
Thanks, Nancy. Great to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. We're excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you. And you're dialing in from where in the world?
We're in Orlando, Florida.
Where the sun always shines. How beautiful is that?
Sun always shines.
That's right.
So I've been thinking a lot about this whole list building topic, and having grown a list of my own over the last 20 years, I know the value, but there may be some people that don't. Why is list building important for online marketers and online course creators and coaches and consultants and people in this bucket?
Yeah, well, I'm just going to start from my own personal experience of working with coaches over the last many years and seeing the time and money investment that they put into what they're building. They create the course, they create the brand, they create the podcast, they write the book, and then they go to sell it and they don't have a list. They don't have anybody to sell it to.
Yeah, no audience.
No audience.
Yeah. And so one of the things that I also feel about having a list is, like Krista was saying, you want to build the list before you're actually ready to have the offer, because you got to have these people eagerly awaiting it. But the other part of it is there are three elements of any business. I don't care what your business is. And that is, you need lead generation, you need to sell to those leads, sales, and you need to then fulfill it. And while many people, Nancy, in our space, we really are excited about what we have to offer and our expertise in helping to impact people's lives, that's the fulfillment part. But many don't actually put any focus on the lead generation or the sales enough, and then they wonder why their businesses flounder.
Such a direct connection to the sales, because when you want to sell, you need people to sell to.
Yeah.
So we decided to really focus in on that lead generation piece to make it as easy as possible.
I love that, ease in list building. And why are some of the reasons we should always be building our list?
I kind of look at it like this, and you know the podcasting space very well. And so anyone who knows that space realizes that, as you know, the start of the show, you got your listeners, and then during the course of the show, listenership will drop off. That happens on every episode basis. It happens across the board, pretty much in anything that we're doing. Over time, things drop. The same thing happens with an email list. So someone can go, oh, I just did this big thing and I grew my list by, 2,000 people. And guess what, though? If they don't keep growing it, that list is going to shrink from 2,000 to 1,800 to 1,600 to 12 and on down. And literally over time, it'll fade to nothing. You need to keep rebuilding it to be on an upward trajectory as opposed to the downward one.
There's another thing to look at when it comes to the list building, like the reason why, like, why is it important? And we kind of separate out into two main categories. One is to be able to sell your own stuff, right? Whether it's an event, all the things we just talked about, you want to be able to have an audience that's ready to buy what you have. And then there's this whole other category of being a great JV partner and doing affiliate partner work. And that's an entire other revenue stream that you really need a list if you're going to be in that game at all.
Absolutely. Now, since we're talking about lists, I remember hearing way back in the day that if you had 1,000 true fans of your expertise, that you could turn that into a thriving business. And some have said that when your list gets to 10,000 or greater, that the list can actually be somewhat of an ATM for the business owner, that they can send mail to their list and instantly have the beautiful music of ka-ching ringing in their shopping cart. What do you say about that? True or untrue, or what's current today?
Well, I would say there's truth in both of those statements, and just let me add a little clarification on it. The piece of having 1,000 rabid fans, and I've read that before as well, and I do believe that to be true, but you got to keep in mind that those 1,000 may be rabid today, but over time, some of those are going to drop in the industry, especially when you run anything like a membership, which is how you would be capitalizing on that. There's this thing known as churn. And that is after time, people drop off, people drop off, people drop off. You need to keep refilling those 1,000. And so to do that, you need to continue to grow the list, even though you may be going, hey, I got my 1,000 people. You want to be ready for when that starts to drop. The other part of it is that a list of 10,000 you use as an example there in a direct ATM. I mean, I've done it that way for myself. If I find like, hey, I need to generate some more revenue. My son's going off to college, got to pay for those tuition bills. I could create something that I know my audience will like. And with a group of 10,000 people on my list, I can email that out. And I'm guaranteed if I built it right for my audience, I'm going to make some sales. And so it is like a personal ATM.
I agree. And I also want to say something else is sometimes the focus is how many people are on your list, or how many buying units. I've heard people say, how many buying units are on your list? And one of the things that I've come around to is thinking of everyone on my list as a human being that I can really help and transform. And so one of the things I wanted to bring out in this piece of the conversation is human beings do pivot and change their direction in terms of what they're doing with their lives and their businesses, depending on where they are and what stage of life they are. And so me having been in business for 20 years, people that joined my list 20 years ago, a whole lot of those people might have retired. They might have sailed off to Tuscany. They might have taken residence on a cruise ship. Who knows? So we have to remember that there's a human being attached to every subscription, and their lives and priorities are changing as ours are. And sometimes you may make a complete and different pivot in your business, and the list that you built isn't even relevant or congruent to what you're doing now. So I'm imagining that there are people that you are working with Infinite List that have just started something, or they're pivoting to something else. Offer some insight or perspective about how to do that with a bang.
Yeah, it's very common to see someone who has had years and years of experience, and they have all their contacts from their former job or what they were doing before, and now they're having a new pivot, new direction, and they're really starting from scratch as far as having a list that's interested in that new conversation. And so that's something we're able to help them do at Infinite List. And what we find is a wonderful way to grab that people's attention is to use a lead magnet. And many of you are familiar with that, but in short, a lead magnet is a free piece of content that you offer somebody in exchange for their email address. And so you're giving them a piece of what you do. They are saying, hey, I like what you have, give it to me. And they voluntarily give you their email address. And that exchange is what we find builds an email list the best, because there are actually people who are interested in what you do.
Yeah. I would also add to that even if you shift, and like, let's say, I'll use my own world as an example. I've got one foot kind of like in the spirituality space, and I built a lot of an email list with people signing up for my guided meditations. And so those people are going to be very different than my audience who's signing up for my business trainings or anything that's offered in that realm. And it would never be, though, even if I shift and said, I'm not going to do anything in that spiritual space anymore, I still don't want to just go, oh, I'm going to throw that list away or delete that. Because when I have other partners who do offer something that fits for that, I would promote them to that part of my list. And as Krista was saying, makes for great affiliate revenue stream as well.
I love that.
Segmenting your list,
Say that one
understanding
more time.
segmenting your list.
Yes.
Whether you
Yes.
have 1, 2, 3 different segments or more, it's what kind of conversations, why did they come to you? What are they expecting from you? So you don't shift gears on them and start selling them something that has nothing to do with why they liked you in the first place. But hold on to those lists, like Michael said, keep nurturing them, and then you can find ways to promote JV partners as well.
Excellent. Now, obviously, I'm a big fan of list building, and I've created a number of lead magnets over the years. And for some people, this is brand new. And so I know there are some big mistakes people make when they create their lead magnets. And I'm wondering if you could help some of those people get on the right track right out of the gate.
Yeah.
What are some of the mistakes people make so that they can do the right thing instead when creating a lead magnet?
Yeah, I'm going to just nail a couple of the big ones that I see over and over again. And I've even had one of my podcast students came to me and said, hey, I'm offering my lead magnet on my show and I'm not getting the conversions I was expecting. And I said, well, what are you offering? He says, well, I'm offering a discovery call. And I'm like, okay, not a good offer. And I'll explain why, because here's the deal. It's counterintuitive. I mean, you would think they're going to get to spend 30 minutes with me. Do you know how valuable that is? I get it, but it's counterintuitive in the respect that the people who are first hearing that offer, they don't know you yet very well. And you want to kind of start in slowly. That would be like just saying, hey, just meet somebody. Like I like to use the dating reference in this world because it's so fitting. It'd be like just meeting someone and say, hey, can I take you out to dinner? It's like, whoa, wait a minute. How about we talk a little bit first, get to know each other? You know, I don't even know anything about you. Send me your a little information on you. And so you're better off to use something that is just, hey, a quick cheat sheet. It needs to be immediately available. That's the other piece too, to book time with you. Well, I'm excited right now. I don't want to wait 2 weeks to get on your calendar. Give me something now. It's that immediate gratification. So those elements will make something like a discovery call, which I'm not knocking, but I'm saying for that first step, not the best lead magnet.
You know, you mentioned dating, and there's a gentleman we probably all know, Tom Poland, who's who's in Australia, but he talks about something called Hugh Jackman marketing. Have you heard him talk about this?
No.
He's been married to his wife for like 30 some odd years. They have a lovely family. Everything's great. But his metaphor is, honey, I know you love me, but if Hugh Jackman showed up on the doorstep with the diamond ring and got on one knee, what would you say? And the wife says, honey, I love you, but heck, it's Hugh Jackman.
Yep.
I'm gonna take that yes, but most of us aren't in the Hugh Jackman category. We need to monitor how we get started with people.
Absolutely.
Now there's
more huge mistake if I can slip that in, which is people are time pressed. They want a quick hit, a quick fix, solve my problem. Let me see what you've got. And when we see people over delivering with a lead magnet that is too long, even if it's super valuable, like I used to sell this for $2,000, but it's my 5-module course and my giant workbook. People don't want that, and they're not going to have a great experience with you. And that's what we're looking for. We just want that. Hey, this person can solve my problem. I like how they roll. I feel like I got a win. And now we've had a good experience. I'm ready for that next email that you'll send me. So keep it really brief.
And it's also a little counterintuitive there. Like she was saying, it could be super valuable, like an ebook. You've put a lot into that. Maybe you got a 100-page ebook that you want to offer, but guess what? It will not perform as well as your 1-page cheat sheet. Give them the golden nuggets. It will get you higher conversions. Offer the ebook later, but get them in your door first.
Okay, I love that. So I want.
Sorry, one last thing. The lead magnet has just popped into their life in the middle of their busy day. You're kind of interrupting them. They're not seeking out your information. And so again, they haven't carved out an hour or 3 hours to dive in. So that quick, immediate gratification is going to help you build that rapport much quicker.
So I want to ask a follow-up question. Sometimes free gifts get downloaded and they go to the free gift graveyard. And sometimes they get downloaded and consumed instantly to lead to that next step, which is another reason that we always need to be keeping to build and replenish our list, because if things do go to the free gift graveyard, we have to keep on building. But then the second follow-up question that I wanted to ask is, hear about people nurturing their lists with autoresponders, and some people may not understand what that is. And so what is an autoresponder? How long should the sequence be? Any thoughts you have about that piece of it?
Yeah, absolutely. So your autoresponder is simply a queued up email or email sequence that will go out as soon as someone opts in. So obviously, when someone selects your free offer, your lead magnet, you want to be sure they get sent that welcome email with the details. And typically what I recommend on that page is to have, here's the link to download the free gift that I just sent you, that you just asked for. So here's your link. That's your welcome email. Now, I also recommend in that welcome email to queue up the following sequence, which the first steps you should do is create what is called an indoctrination sequence. I know indoctrination sounds like such a harsh word, but what you're really doing is over the course of that first week, two things. One is you want to make sure they remember you. How many times, I know I've done it myself as well. I may opt in for something and then I don't get an email from that person for a couple of weeks and I'm like, who are you? I don't know you. Why am I on your list? And I unsubscribe. And so the purpose of the indoctrination sequence is to get them to remember you quickly. And so you tell them, I'm going to send you an email for every day for the next week. And you make sure that each of those emails is giving value, because the second part you want to indoctrinate them into is being excited to open your emails.
Right.
So for my podcasting one, I say, I'm going to send you over the next 7 days, 7 different ways to monetize your podcast. So now they're looking forward to hearing those. They just opted in for my podcast lead magnet. Now they want to know these ways to monetize. And it gets them excited about that. So much so that I even get people who will write and go, I missed email for day 4. Could you send that again? That's what you want to do. So now they're excited about opening your emails and they remember who you are. So after that week, then you can drop back to weekly or twice a month, whatever you might normally do.
Very, very helpful. Anything you want to add to that, Krista?
It's also an opportunity for them to get to know you. So in that indoctrination sequence, tell them a bit about yourself. Let your personality shine through. Maybe why are you the expert, or where did you come from? What led you to this part? So you humanize it, and now they're starting to build that relationship with you. And there's even a strategy of asking them a question and saying, hey, just reply back and give them something really simple, like an A/B answer, and see if they'll reply back with that response. So you're going to, in a sense, training them to, have a conversation with you.
Getting back to that, there's a human being on the other side of that email. It's an equal exchange. I want to ask us, I often say that what you measure gets treasured. And some people will sometimes go through the administrative process of creating a lead magnet and I checked the box, but some people never go back and see how well their lead magnet is converting from click to lead.
Yeah.
Do you have any guidelines or suggestions of what people should be aiming for in that regard?
Yeah, there's a couple of ways I would measure this. So one is you want to be sure that you're creating a hot title, that the title alone, remember, people don't get to know what the lead magnet is, what the bulk of it is, the heft of it is, until they've opted in. So the first thing is going to be the title. So you want the title to be really enticing and to get them into action. So that would be step one. But the other part that you have to be sure of, if you want to really, make this transaction flow, is you want to address what is their top of mind problem. And I think I've wandered a little bit off of the question,
Metrics.
but yeah. So for the metrics, so if you're solving that top of mind problem, there are going to be 2 metrics to measure. Okay. So one is, and some of it's harder because let's say you may be promoting something for us. And so it might be a little harder for me to measure the metric because I don't know how many emails you might have sent. But I can always ask you, and you say, Michael, I sent 100 emails, and then I would want to know, well, how many opened? Okay, so then you tell me, okay, 20 opened. And then if you're using my swipe copy, that's the first metric. Was my swipe copy that I wrote for you, was that enticing enough to get them to click the link? Because that's the whole job. You got to break down job one. Subject line gets them to open it. The email copy gets them to click the link. Now they're on my opt-in page. Now that I can measure all on my end because I know how many people land there. And of those that land, what percentage actually give me their name and email. And if that is less than 50%, then I know I need to work on my opt-in page. It should be converting. I like to see mine converting at 75% or more.
That's
Because
impressive. That's
well,
impressive.
it is and it isn't in one way, and I'll explain what I mean is that if someone clicked to go there, well, they're already mostly interested. And so I believe on the opt-in page, don't put much, because if they already clicked to go there, they're interested, don't talk them out of it. And so, and you know, pages that convert less, they got too much text there because now the person starts reading and maybe a phone call happens and then they forget and they don't opt in. Minimalist approach works best on the opt-in page. So those are the metrics I like to measure and make sure that I'm riding high on.
I would also like to ask in a follow-up, when someone is getting involved in joint venture in relationships, so often it's important to have, I call it a workhorse, which would be a lead magnet that's converting at 50% or greater with my own traffic or JV referred traffic. But if I have a really strong converting lead page, I know that if I invite a partner to promote it and I can tell them that, they'll be more interested versus someone who says, I've just fallen off the turnip truck yesterday and I've thrown something together with sealing wax and duct tape, and will you please send it to your list? You know, I would much rather have someone come to me and say, my gift is converting at this percent after this many visits, and it's people are buying the subsequent offer, and I'm ready to welcome JV referred traffic in much wider numbers. Can we play together? That's when having a high converting lead magnet becomes a currency that can open other doors to other partners, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We just had this discussion yesterday. It's so funny that you bring this up because we've got several people reaching out to us wanting to JV partner. And when it's someone that I don't know and haven't really worked with, like I've known you for years, so I'm always happy to joint venture with you, but other people reach out. I'm like, okay, well, I want to meet with you, figure out what do you have? How's it converting? You know, if I do send you people, are you going to be able to close those deals? Or, you know, is this just me wasting email space? So it's part of being a curator for your list, because you, again, I call it the list, but they are people. And I want to make sure I'm sending them value, not some other crap. So I've got to be really in that mode of being a curator before I just JV with someone.
Yeah, and to piggyback on what Michael's saying, we were having the conversation about the importance of the other person's brand. What do we see when you open the offer from them and you see their colors, their look, their whole look, even before you dive into the content? If it's a disconnect from the brand that we have, I think it could end up hurting you. And so we're really careful to look for people that we feel are heart-centered, have a similar vibe. And all that really plays into account. It's not just the end product. Does that align? It's like, is this congruent for our email list? Does it make sense that they open it up and go, oh yeah, of course Michael sent me this person. You don't want them to go, whoa, why did Michael send me this guy? I don't get it. You know, that could only hurt us in the long run.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, between the two of you, you have so much depth and breadth and knowledge about list building and growing very wildly successful businesses. And you've got this product called the Infinite List. And I'm wondering if you could give us a little bit of an overview of what that is, because I'm pretty sure that there are people watching today that want to grow their list and need the kind of depth and breadth of insight and expertise that you have. So that maybe there's a perfect match to be made right here on this show.
Right. Yeah, I love that. And thank you for asking. And one of the things that we have found in the world of list building and growing your business is that you need to have some consistency in your list growth. And there are a lot of great ways to get your lead magnet out there. I mean, obviously, first you want to start with a great lead magnet, but then you've got to get the eyeballs on it. And we kind of did this scale, Nancy, where we measured 4 different measurement factors to kind of create a litmus test. And that was, how cost effective is it? Is it expensive to get those leads, or is it cheap to get those leads? How easy is it? How much effort do you have to put in? Is it easy effort or pretty difficult? One of them is the quantity. Does it generate a lot, like in a fell swoop, or does it kind of trickle? And then the other part is, how steady is the flow? Is it like a roller coaster where you might get a lot of leads one month and then nothing for the next couple of months? So with those 4 elements, we've done, reviewed everything from
Mhm.
putting your thing on your website, being in a virtual summit, doing social media, just organic or paid ads in social media,
Speaking from stages.
So we kind of measured everything. And we have found, and all of them are great, by the way. I'm not saying don't do any of them. I suggest do all of them. But as far as a strategy to do it in an ongoing, cost-effective, easy way, we found that giveaways work the best. And I've been teaching giveaways for years, helping people I had a done for you giveaway service. And a little over a year ago, I saw that I was having the same people coming back again and again, jumping into giveaways to play in them and or having me host their giveaways. And so we decided to turn this into a community. And thus the Infinite List was born. And it is one of the challenges, as you can probably attest to, is just because you know about the value of a giveaway doesn't mean you're getting invited to be in a giveaway every month. And with our community, it gives you access to, I think last year we ran nearly 100 giveaways. So members in the community get access to all of these and go, oh, I want to be in this one. I want to be in that one. And they're all very targeted. And so it is a continuous ongoing list growth.
Did you say
model.
ongrowing?
Did I say
I
ongrowing?
think you said ongrowing. I think it's the new word to talk about list growth. It's ongrowing list growth.
That's right.
Well, because you've already made the case that we should always be growing our lists, that the people are coming and going at an uneven clip. So, it's sort of like me with podcast guesting. I believe in that strategy so much that I guest twice a month, it's just like a steady diet. I will guest twice a month or something better because I believe in the strategy. It works really well for me. And I'm not leading with my big toe and wondering if the water is warm. I'm all in at hello on that strategy. So for people that have books forthcoming that need to get to be bestseller status, don't wait till the book is in your hand to start building your list. You should be building your list now. And Infinite List Giveaway is the mechanism through which they can make that happen with more ease and speed. And I believe you're suggesting that some of the technical back-end stuff can be done for them. So for people for whom that makes their eyes roll over with aggravation, there's ease and flow for them with Infinite List in that regard too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. We have a beautiful member platform that just you click and upload. You've got your photo, your bio, you add your lead magnet, you go through our calendar and select which of the giveaways are a good fit for your lead magnets. And we hold up to 4. We encourage people to work off of different lead magnets. Sometimes you have either multiple brands, multiple businesses, or multiple doors that people can come in to get to know your work. And so we make that so easy for you to simply click, I want my lead magnet number 1 and this giveaway that's on this date because it's a good alignment. And we build the pages. We really do the rest of the work. And it's all wrapped up in a really great membership community where our members get to know each other and we have live coaching. Even incredible digital training on everything you need to know about building a lead magnet and that list building process.
Yeah.
So I want to ask one more question, and that is AI. It's all everywhere. There's some people that will ask ChatGPT to create their lead magnet for them, and they'll just run with it, just as ChatGPT has spit it out. Do you have a point of view about that one way or the other?
Yeah. Oh, by golly, do I? Okay. So here's the thing. And I even created a lead magnet myself because so many people were using AI, and I call it the ultimate AI lead magnet playbook. Because here's the truth of the matter. As good as AI is, it doesn't know strategy necessarily. And so what I found, and in this playbook that I created, it shows how to use AI, but it also has to give you the fundamentals of a great lead magnet, because AI, and I tested it, by the way, in doing this. I said, what do you feel like makes up a great lead magnet? And it gave me 8 different things. And I'm like, okay, some of them are like, yeah, some of them don't really matter. Because again, strategically, it's not thinking longer term. And so in my AI lead magnet playbook, while it focuses a little bit on how you can use the AI part, Mostly it focuses on you need to feed in what makes for a good lead magnet. And I quote that as three simple things: immediately available, easily consumable, solves a top of mind problem. And if you honor those three things, and maybe if you're using AI, you plug those three things in, it will help you to create a pretty good lead magnet.
And you do have a fabulous lead magnet that you're going to be making available to everybody who's tuning in for us. And I want to share the link to it. It's getknowngetpaid.com/Michael Leads. Michael Leads. And tell us what that is, just in case we're not completely clear.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it is what I was just mentioning, the ultimate AI lead magnet playbook. So perfect fit. Thank you, Nancy, for making that available to your people. Again, it's not going to be like one of those things where it's going here, feed this prompt and that prompt and this prompt, because that's going to be really up to you for your, what your expertise is. But what you will learn in it to focus on is those three elements: immediately available, easily consumable, solving a top of mind problem. And so literally, even if you use that in the prompts and say, can you create for me, here's my area of expertise, you can tell it all of your bits, say, craft something that can be immediately available as a one-page cheat sheet or a two-page blueprint or whatever, and AI will create that for you. But you got to give it those important elements. Otherwise, you might be missing the mark there.
So where you go to get that is getknowngetpaid.com/Michael Leads. And I want to add one more thing to what you just said. You two are masterful with lead generation for hundreds or thousands of people. And one of the best ways that any of us can succeed is by modeling success that's before us. So when you go to this opt-in page, you're going to see how simple it is. Either you want it or you don't, but you're probably going to jump right in and get it. And then what you're going to notice is you're going to land on a beautiful thank you page. And the thank you page says, hey, your goodie is on its way. And while you wait, here's extra value and additional actions you can take. If you've been totally in the dark about how to handle your thank you page, one of the smartest things to realize is that success leaves clues. And Michael and Krista are demonstrating an excellent model for you to emulate. But just imagine if you were behind the velvet rope at Infinite List and you had access to every bit of brain trust that they have to bring to support your success. What then could happen with your list? What then could happen with your business? How many more lives could you touch and transform? Success leaves clues. People who are experts in certain areas are people that have earned it over time. And Michael and Krista are the kings and queens of list building for Infinite List. So I hope that you are excited to meet them as I'm as excited to be here with them today. Anything more you want to say before we ring off for today?
I just want to thank you so much, Nancy, for what you do for all of your people, and knowing you for as many years as I have, knowing how you lead from the heart, super valuable. And I really appreciate the opportunity to share with your audience today, because I know you attract great people. So thank you.
Well, it's my pleasure. And you, Krista?
It's been a pleasure. And thank you so much. And the list building, the leads may not be the most exciting part of your business, but it's so important. It's the foundation that lays the ground for these other things that you do want to do, and getting your message out there to more people. That's what we want to help you do.
I want to add one more thing to this conversation, because I have been in this business for a really long time. And I remember way back in the day when everyone was joint venturing with all these movers and shakers. And I was like, I had my nose against the glass, and I was wondering, how could I get invited in to play that game? And everyone kept on saying, your wealth is in your list, your wealth is in your list. But you know what got to me? And this is a real true story. People love my content. They love me. I'm awesome. All these great things, whatever. But this one woman, she was such a straight shooter. She said the same thing. She said, I love you. I love your content. I know you're fabulous. But until your list is at 10,000 or greater, it's a non-starter for me. I won't play with you. I won't support you. I won't do anything for you. And it was like, well, all righty then. It was like, there are certain moments in time that kind of hit you squarely between the eyes, where you think, if you want to play a bigger game, you've got to have the currency that will allow you to get to the table. And I think if you want to get there faster, building a list is going to be like your run for the roses moment. Don't hang around at the merry-go-round and do it one at a time. Run to the roses and get it done fast and fun and in community. And that's what Infinite List is all about. And I don't regret that woman told me that straight talk way back in the day. And do I have a list of that size or greater? I absolutely do. And are the doors opening for me? Absolutely. And so, you know, don't wait to grow your list. Today is the day. And heck, you don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. So knock it out of the park right now. That's my advice.
Right.
All right.
I agree with that 100%. And if I could add one little piece to that, and I love that you brought that up, Nancy, because here's the thing that you have to look at. And I know for some people, what she said to you may have seemed harsh, but you really have to look at it from that person's perspective. I can only promote so many partners throughout the year. My promo calendar gets filled up. And therefore, all other things being equal, I'm going to pick the ones who have the bigger list, because when they reciprocate, it's really going to add more value to my world. And so it's just a matter of numbers, that there is a limitation. And so you want to be up to that level where you can now compete for those spots.
Yes. So there's so much more to learn. We've just barely touched the tip of the iceberg. So for those who are watching, go to getknowngetpaid.com/Michael Leads. I'll make sure to put it in the show notes and share this with all of your friends, because we're building a community at Infinite List and we'd love for y'all to be a part of it. So with that, Michael and Krista, thank you so much for being my guests today. You were awesome. I knew you would be, and I can't wait to share this out with everyone I know so that the community will build and success will grow for all of us. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nancy. We love you. We miss you. Can't wait to be hanging out with you in person soon.
Yay. Very good.